We're going live.
It's okay.
Please. Okay. Okay, here we are. We're going live. We're going live, and yeah, we are still experiencing problems, which is kind of interesting. But I guess, that's how it is. Okay, here we are. Oh,
All right.
you can hear that? I think I have the background actually. So we have still experienced. Okay, I think now we should be good. How are you, Liz?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm doing great. Considering, it's all good. It's always
so good. Yeah. Well, it's yeah, got off to kind of a rocky start today, but I guess hey, that's what it is. But we have some very interesting guests, and I'm so happy. We have Alex Montoya, we have Kana Kawasaki, actually from Hiroshima, also live, and we have Bill Collins.
Yeah, we have BZ Collins.
I mean, that's great already, for the show. And with no further ado, I think I'm going to just invite them in.
All right, that sounds good.
And here we go. We just let everybody in because everybody is already here. Well, wonderful. So, happy to have you guys all on board, from the get-go.
All right. Hey, Alex. Hey, BZ.
Hello. How are you?
Oh, we're doing great.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
That's so great. Well, Alex.
Yes. Can you guys see me, hear me?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we have a nice picture of you.
Yeah. I don't know why. Let me see. Let me get the video up. There we go.
There you go. Well,
awesome.
Hello and welcome.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm like very impressed because with BZ and you, Alex, we have some real pros here, on the show. And but I would like to start with you, Alex. We have met multiple times actually for Rotary, and Alex is a motivational speaker. Hello, Kana. Welcome.
Hi, Kana.
Is a motivational speaker and just released 2 new books about 2 weeks ago, which we are going to circle back to in a little bit. But give us a little about your, your background. I mean, here in San Diego County, you are like a local hero, if I may say.
Oh wow! Thank you, very kind. Yeah, it's I don't consider it a background. I consider it a journey. And my journey began in Medellin, Colombia, 46 years ago. I was born with a birth defect. I was born as a triple amputee, missing both of my arms and my right leg. Immigrated to the United States when I was 4, and have really seen that within my adversity has come my greatest victories, and within my greatest challenges have come my greatest triumphs. So that's really been something that has guided me to live inspired my entire life, and has really led me on a very interesting pathway that eventually led to writing books. I have 8 books that I've published. I am a speaker, as you mentioned, public speaker, and I just enjoy sharing my story and showing people that no matter what adversity they're going through, and no matter what challenges they're going through, that as long as they focus on what they have and not on what they're missing, and they live with passion and joy, they can overcome any adversity.
Yeah, and
Wow.
that's great. And I think what that this time you made a real change because, well, 7 out of your 8 published books are really for adults.
Right.
And here you are, and you're writing a children's book. And I was very mystified. Well, mystified. I shouldn't say mystified, but it's like Alex mastered the monkey bars. So, of course, I know you're in CERN, but people who don't know, there's like, as a triple amputee, how even is that physically possible?
Sure. Well, I wear 3 prosthetics. You can see my 2 arm prosthetics right here, and I have hooks at the end of my 2 arms. Um, the Alex Masters the monkey bars is it was my decision to kind of tell a favorite childhood story of mine and really make it educational and show kids number one that they can persevere and do even things that they think is impossible. But number two, to learn the greater lesson of making friends with people who have disabilities. And I had never written a children's book in my life. I had to do a lot of research on it and figure out how exactly one goes about doing that. But I pride myself both as a writer and just as a person in taking on new challenges and not being afraid to take on new things. And I decided, that it was very appropriate to do something I had never done, do a children's book, and write it about an adventure in my life where I had never done that. I had never gotten on the monkey bars, and as a kid, it was just something that I wanted to take on in order to fit in order to be with my friends, and again to prove that just because something looks impossible and something doesn't look like it's attainable doesn't mean you shouldn't try.
Right.
No, I mean we have to really applaud you for that, and that brings me to your next step. I mean, yes, you have written the book now, but before you created your motivational speaker company. So was that going, looking into retrospect, you mastering the monkey bars the first step to creating your company?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Something like that was about 40 years apart. But yes, when I first mastered the monkey bars and first took on that challenge, I was only about 6 years old, and seeing that it was so invigorating and so inspiring to take something on of that magnitude at that age really inspired me the remainder of my life. I'm very fortunate to say that I was one of the first students mainstreamed from disabled education to regular education in San Diego County, and I went on to a great education, University of Notre Dame. I was able to carry the Olympic torch in 1996 for them, and it really developed a mindset for me of go for the gold, try your best in life. I think when life throws adversity at you that's meant to stop you and meant to limit you, you become more inspired to do more if you let it. I think probably the most unfortunate people in the world are the
Mm.
ones that have it all and the ones that have no challenge or no adversity because it's very easy to get stuck into just doing the bare minimum. But because I have my disability, I've always had that mindset. I've always had that mindset, and it started that day on the playground of try new things, try different things, do more than you're expected to do more than you are being told that you can do. Don't be afraid to dream it. Don't be afraid to envision it, and just go for it. And that's really led to great things. I worked in sports, working for the San Diego Padres baseball club for about 10 years, and that really became a great platform for me to share my message. And then 5 years ago, in August of 2015, I started my own company because I really felt like it was important to tell kids and families and anybody that they can't let challenges stop them. It really was the starting point for me of being able to spread that message.
No,
Right.
it's really, it's please go
Yeah,
ahead.
I do. I have a question also. So
Yeah,
what type of training did you actually go through for, to be a motivational speaker? Did it just kind of come? And yeah, so how did that work? Your speaking and communications. How did that go?
sure.
Mhm.
I wouldn't call it training as much as I would call it just a willingness to learn because growing up, I really had a fear of public speaking, as most people do. I am more naturally a writer, and writer has always been my first love. Ever since I was 10 years old, I knew that I wanted to be a writer someday. But then I actually was called upon to give a speech at a graduation at my junior high. My junior high school asked me to be the keynote speaker, and I was scared and I was trembling, but I just kind of poured my heart out on stage. And when I saw the reaction, I said, "Oh wow, this is really great. This is something that I could really get into." But then I saw that if that was going to be an important part of sharing my truth, that I needed to be a lot more comfortable with it, and I just needed to get better at it. So I'm studying speakers all the time. I study anyone that ever does any sort of presentation, whether it's clergy or elected officials or any newsmakers at all, stand-up comedians,
Mm.
even anyone that ever is ever on stage in front of an audience. I always have a world of respect for, and I always study what they do. I think that's something that can be applied to really any field, whatever you want to master. Just watch the people that are doing it the best, and you can certainly learn from that. But I will say the same thing about writing that I often do, speaking that I often do about writing, which is you're never going to get better at it unless you do it. So I try to do some form of writing and speaking every single day, even if it's just making a video and posting it on my social media. I really think that writing and speaking are both two things that you need to do over and over and over and over to find your voice, to figure out who your audience is, and to just get more comfortable doing it. Because it's not just a hobby, it's not just a skill. It should be your craft, and if it's your craft, then it's something that you want to work at, that you want to work at every day.
Right. And
But
then it's, oh,
no, no, go ahead, Liz.
okay, yeah. So it's different when you're actually born with a disability opposed to developing a disability at a later age. So I wouldn't even say that it makes it easier, but it's a little bit
Different,
different. You
sure.
seem so very comfortable, and you are really blessed to be here and to do what you're doing. A lot of people, they don't look at it like that. They, are kind of fearful of a disability, but you're handling
Right.
yourself very well, and I
Thank
appreciate
you. Thank you. Absolutely. It's interesting because I oftentimes will remark that I consider myself incredibly fortunate that I was born with my disability instead of acquiring it because this is all that I've ever known. This is all that I've ever known, and I had to learn from day one how to adapt, how to adjust. I didn't know any other way. I oftentimes will speak to people who either were in accidents or maybe are military veterans. And I know it's a little bit tougher. And I tell them off the bat that, they have experienced something that I have not experienced because maybe they had their limbs before. And so therefore there is loss. But I do think that there's certainly challenges that we both go through. And especially if they are people who use prosthetics, let's say, I want them to see that life isn't over just because they have prosthetics now. They just have to learn how to do things differently. And for anyone that has any sort of disability whatsoever, I want them to adopt that mindset that I need to focus on what I have instead of what I'm missing. And I need to just continue to live life as passionately and attack life as best as possible, because that's something that all of us can do. And again, if you have a disability, if you have a challenge, I think we are more inclined to go out and attack life because we just kind of maybe hold it in greater regard. We're a little more appreciative of what we have.
Yes. Alex, what is the easiest way, for our viewers to actually contact you if they would like to have you as a motivational speaker or guest speaker at one of their events?
Sure. They can just go to my website, which is www.alexmontoya.org. That's alexmontoya.org, and send me an email through it. Or they can just email me off the bat, alex@alexmontoya.org. I answer each and every one of my inquiries, and I would be honored to travel and or in these times even do things virtually if we need to. But I would love to absolutely connect with people.
Yeah. I mean, out of my personal experience seeing you live, um, I do have to say, even that we are virtually together now, you're one of those people where when they experience your life, it just adds to the experience.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I believe that we all have something to share. We all have a gift. Nothing happens by coincidence. The adversity that any of us face happens for a reason. And so I want to be able to show people that I'm comfortable with the adversity that I have. I enjoy sharing it. I enjoy sharing my journey. And life is all about giving forward. Life is all about taking what you've experienced and being able to bless somebody else with it. And so, I just enjoy telling my story and showing people how they may not have the same challenges that I do, but they have some form of challenge because we all do. And it's up to them to decide to live inspired, and whenever they feel down or they feel challenged, I just remind them that you got this, you can do it.
Yeah. Well, Alex, that was by itself very motivational. So thank you. Well, yeah, it's important, and sometimes people feel they hear it too often, but I don't think you can hear it too often because after all, you need something who drives you forward, and some people are just more easily driven, and others, need our help, to get into the drive and enjoy all those things in life. And um, now that's going to be a little difficult to make that jump from you, Alex, over to Kana. So Kana is actually working for the International Travel Office in Hiroshima. And what fascinated me with Kana is that she actually is working for an organization who tries to bring groups, people, tourists, whatever, to a city who was literally wiped off the face of the earth 70 years ago.
Wow.
And I think sometimes, people actually forget what happened then. And I think it's important, to consciously bring that back and see what the city actually now is and what they're doing. Um, but frankly, also, what now with COVID? So,
Yes,
so go ahead.
well, and it's so true. And I think right now in these challenging times, I think it's so important to make sure that people don't lose hope. One thing I really tried to stress during this COVID time and during this time of quarantine is to really stop and reflect on where we're at in life. I mean, it's a great reset for all of us. all of our lives have been impacted. All of our lives have been slowed down. And so it's a time to kind of see where am I? Am I living with purpose? And also, how can I maximize this time? Who is the person that I want to be when all of this ends, whenever it ends? And so for me, I knew that I was going to have a lot of time to write. And so I sat down and literally completed 2 books during the first 4 months of COVID. And I think every person just needs to be able to look at themselves in the mirror and just kind of ask the questions of okay, where's my life right now? What adversities am I facing? Where do I want to be and who do I want to be? Let's say 2 months from now, 3 months from now, and beyond. And how can I make the most out of this time? How can I make the most out of this? And knowing that life is all about attitude and viewpoint, how can I view this as an opportunity?
Well,
Right.
I'm just going to take this like it is, throw it over to Kana, and let's hear it. Where are you in your life, Kana?
Where are you? I me now. Good. So, first of all, thank you for inviting me, and this is so amazing to be here. And then thank you, Alex, for inspiring the story. Yeah, and then now, in Hiroshima is something much more different from that you think. So people tend to come up with something very negative story, but now how much recovered, and we should tell something very different story about Hiroshima. And that is a part of my job to tell exactly what happened, but now it's really recovered and the people are like moving forward, and then yeah, that's how that.
So how are you trying to now attract, to get new groups and tourists to Hiroshima? I mean, you were on a total climb. It was going all well. COVID-19 hit, and now you experience a similar standstill than the rest of the world.
Yeah, but when it comes to tourism, we have peace tourism. So we should tell them that people from both in Japan and abroad. So we should tell what happened exactly, the fact, but also we should tell the people how we recovered from the history, and then it's something more positive and bright side of Hiroshima. And so we connect to history and then world heritage and something more not negative fact. And like a Peace Memorial Park is not only dark history. So like we should tell about more like I don't know how to say, but it's like we should try that fact, make it fact more kind of attractive. So it's not only the side of dark, and it's more light side. As I said, how much it recovered, and we should we actually work on making the history more like a business or tourism. So that is we working on now.
So what would you say are now the most attractive parts about Hiroshima?
Attractive parts. So as I said, history, and then the history itself is not so beautiful, but the place or the sport itself is really beautiful. Mm-hmm. So when they come to Hiroshima, they found it very beautiful, and then at the same time, they knew they have to know the history, and which is really negative one. But it's not only about Peace Memorial Park. So, have you ever heard of Miyajima Island, you guys?
No.
No.
Anybody else? I have not.
No.
Okay. But there was a really very beautiful place, which is the other water-headed site. So there is a boat from Peace Memorial Park to Miyajima. So two water-headed sites are connected. So this is really attractive place, and then that I always introduce, which is really beautiful place and an attractive place in Hiroshima.
So right now, if someone wanted to travel to Hiroshima, are there any travel restrictions, or is everybody has to wear a mask, or what's happening right now?
To be honest, we haven't experienced any lockdown situation and a quarantine situation in Japan, but it's just wearing the face mask, and so when you in the shop, you have to keep social distance in the register, so in line, so like a 2 meters, these 2 meters of people, but yeah, just only two things for now.
So I heard, go ahead, Liz.
Yeah, I like the idea that they said now possibly people in Hiroshima are going to start doing the bow instead of shaking hands. I thought that was a really cool idea.
Oh, yeah.
So have you guys started that yet?
So like you said, you check the video on LinkedIn, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So it's a very basic greeting. So it never changed.
Oh.
Even though we're in this situation. I guess it's very interesting and unique. Have it in Japan, but yeah, just all the time bow and yeah, something.
So coming a little bit, because I love food. So what is one of the specialities you would recommend if someone travels to Hiroshima?
I mean food.
Food.
Okay.
Food or a restaurant, what you would say, which represents really, the local cuisine.
Okay, so I guess two main local cuisines we have, and the one is okonomiyaki. It's really hard to pronounce for you guys, but
okonomiyaki.
Yeah, okonomiyaki. Yeah, that.
Actually, BZ, how would you pronounce that? I saw, you do also, accents and dialects.
Okonomiyaki.
Oh, that's great.
Look at that.
Wow.
Make me look
pretty
like
good.
food.
Pretty good.
All right.
So sorry, Kana, that I interrupted you. So okonomiyaki.
Okonomiyaki. It's like a savory pancakes, but it's really special from Hiroshima because lots of veggies and something layered. I don't know, it's like a cakes, but it's actually it's really savory. And then once you taste, I'm sure you're into it. And yeah.
And the other one?
The other one is oysters.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
Everybody's waking up oyster. Oh,
Yeah, maybe you've never heard of the Hiroshima's oysters place, but it's really, really fresh. And to be honest, the Hiroshima is really famous for seafood, so
Mhm.
yeah, it's really good. I'm sure the Hiroshima is the best place to taste it in Japan.
that's good. Well, I think, that gave us, a picture, and at least I know I'm going to go for oysters. And Liz, may I throw from Kana to you to BZ to make
Yes,
the
yes.
introductions?
So I'd like to introduce our last guest, and it's BZ Cullens. Hey, BZ,
Hey, how we
Hello.
doing?
joining us from Las Vegas. And he is an actor and he does voiceovers.
Mhm.
And he has done quite a few documentaries also. So, BZ, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Absolutely. First, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Um, I'm honored. um, my I'm an entertainer, but my journey began primarily. I do voiceover work. For those who don't know, if you're watching a commercial, if you're watching animation, it's the voices that you hear behind what you see. So that's primarily where my work resides. Um, in recent years, I've transitioned to on-camera work. So I've booked, some small parts in, feature films, a little bit of television, and commercials. But the majority of my work is in voiceover. So, um, you know, the cool thing about voiceover, one of the greatest things about it is you can work from home. We don't have to travel studio to studio to studio anymore. With
Right.
the advent of technology, I have all of it, everything it is that I need to work from home, my own personal studio. And that's pretty much the how it is for, well, right now, I'd say 95% of the industry because of COVID, everything shut down. The
Right.
studios are shut down, and this is all over like Hollywood, New York, all the major market hubs. Everything is shut down. They're starting to open things up a little bit by now, but a lot of the stuff that we submit is still online. So even with like when Hollywood actually shut down, the voiceover industry exploded.
Wow.
So a lot of those on-camera actors who are used to working on camera started getting voiceover auditions from their agents and managers.
Wow.
So then there's been a major spike in audio equipment sales because everyone is getting themselves armed to the teeth to work from home.
Mhm.
And because of the advent of technology, you have major market hubs like Hollywood, Chicago, New York, Atlanta with on camera work. Now there's the self tape audition where you basically what we're doing right now.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You're doing a self tape audition and you're submitting it online, just like with it's been like that for voiceover well over going on 20 years. But
Right.
now it's like that now for on camera work. So there are TV shows that I've auditioned for, like a show on the OWN network, Oprah's network, called Greenleaf.
Oh yeah.
I've auditioned for that a couple of times here in Vegas, but the show films in Atlanta.
Mm.
So, I've auditioned for a show on CBS called Bull. I was in LA and I did a self-tape audition there, but the show films in New York.
Wow.
So now where does it matter where these shows and movies are shooting? You can record an audition from home. And if they like you enough, they'll bring you in.
Right. Right.
I like the part if they like you enough, they bring you in.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's really
depends.
cool.
It all depends on your performance. So you have to be at the top of your A game. Even now with the quarantine situation, the game hasn't stopped. It's only slowed down, but it hasn't stopped. So you
Yeah.
still have to be on top of your A game, and you still have to deliver bookable performances.
Right. So has it actually affected your work, with the different stipulations that they, have in place now? Has it, directly impacted your work?
It's impacted my on camera work, yeah. My voiceover work, no. The voiceover is business as usual. And I
Okay.
mean, one of the greatest things about voiceover, being that you're doing it from home, you can work in your pajamas if you wanna.
Right.
No, no one can see you. All they're doing is listening to you. So that's one of the greatest things about voiceover. So for me, the only change that's happened for me in voiceover is I also coach voiceover and I also produce voiceover demos. The only thing that's changed for me in voiceover is that I've been picking up a lot of students lately, a lot. So I still have income between my voiceover work, and now, as a matter of fact, I'm going to be producing 2 demos I'm working on today. I had 2 students today. I have one tomorrow, and I'm not so far. I have 3 demos in the pipeline, so I'm still busy. But then the beautiful thing about it is all the work that I'm doing from home.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. And you also have a radio show?
Yes, I do. Actually, 2. Both of these shows are on the same station,
Okay.
and I have a Thursday show which goes up at 6 o'clock. So it's almost 5 o'clock my time now. So I'll be having to skate to the station. Um, but
You
the
said
2 shows
skate
that I have,
to the
I'm
station.
sorry,
You said skate to the station.
yeah, skate.
Oh, escape. That's
Yeah,
Like
but I was like, oh, I
Zoom.
had a good visual on that one. Ah,
yeah. So I got to skate to the station.
All right.
but but yeah, I have a show on Thursday. My Thursday show. Both of these shows are on the same station, and the station is a Christian-based talk radio station. So, and the thing is I've never wanted to do radio. I never wanted to do it. I've been told for the longest time, oh man, you should be on the radio. You should be doing the Quiet Storm. You should be doing the Midnight Drive and stuff like that. But I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But due to the fact that this was a Christian station, I'm like, I've been given a gift by God. I can't be
Yes.
arrogant and not, like Alex said earlier, you share your gifts. you
Right.
know it would be arrogant of me not to share my gift. So
Right.
I'm like, okay, this is kingdom building, I can't refuse it. So lo and behold, I've been doing radio for 5 or 6 years now, even though I didn't want to do it, but I don't mind doing it now.
Right.
So the first show on Thursday is called Forgiven, and it's revolved around the family unit, keeping the family unit as a cohesive unit with biblical principles. And then the Saturday show is usually at 2 p.m. Pacific time. It's called Open Book Radio, and we interview authors, musicians, small businesses, spoken word artists. It's basically an interview show, very much like this
Mm-hmm.
well, it's funny because on my screen, Alex is looking down on you. And when you mentioned interview, you should have seen his face go, ah.
Very true. Very true.
one. Yes,
Very
indeed.
true. Authors.
So, so yeah, that's pretty much what it is that I do. Like I said, Hollywood is opening up right now, slowly but surely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think they're still going to kind of hold off on doing, having people come in physically to do
Mm-hmm.
auditions. I
Right.
think they're gonna hold on to doing online auditions for a while.
Okay.
Go ahead, Liz.
Oh,
You
okay.
you you, you looked ready.
I was ready. Okay. So anyway, would you mind doing like a little sample of one of your voiceovers, one of your favorite
Yeah,
ones,
sure.
or maybe some of us may recognize?
So you know, my biggest thing and my ultimate end goal is to do movie trailers. And so, you know, I've been doing a little bit of work here and there in that. I can give you a horror movie, or I can give you a romantic comedy, or
Hmm.
you know, what do you think?
How about
Rom-com.
romantic comedy?
Okay, so Miramax Films and Universal Gold presents the story of a girl and a boy and another boy and a meddling mother. Because I said so. Who says mother always knows best? Rated PG.
Cool.
All right.
I love it.
Awesome.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your next project which is coming up?
Well, thing is I'm actually getting ready to work on, you know, working on being a little bit behind the creative side, like writing, you know, small like short films and scenes. Um, I've written actually two short films based on the DC comic book character, the Green Lantern, where I play the title character.
Yeah.
The thing is now that COVID kicked in, it's kind of tough to get a project put together because then there'll be people who have to work in close proximity to one another. So that's what's been really, really tough about filming projects now.
Mhm.
I literally have everything set and ready to go for both projects. It's just a matter of now we have this quarantine, now we have this disease, and we have to be extra careful right now. I'm really, really amped up to do this because I've always wanted to play a superhero. I'd like to get these particular projects out there because I've always wanted to voice the character in animation. But then I'm like, you know what? Why don't I do a live version of it? So I'm looking to do that. I in my email box I have several auditions for voiceover that I have to knock out. So it's just a matter of if they like me, they'll book me, I'll voice it, and then wait for my checks.
Right.
No, it's great to hear, you know, because there's, oh gosh, you know, we just live in the now, and the now is not that bright, or it's it seems that way.
Mhm.
But I do have to say that we are, I mean, Liz and I are encountering so many positive people, and you know, people which are still going forward, you know, and are
Mhm.
overcoming those walls, and even if they have, you know, feel financial hardship now, or they they are still there, and they say, hey, you know what, there is a that bright light at the famous end of the tunnel, you know, that you want to go to do a the close here. I mean, um, when you and there can I just come back to um, a city like Hiroshima, which was really literally wiped off the face of the earth, and they reinvented themselves, and I think there's still kind of a stigma, you know, towards a city, especially, you know, if you live in America, because that is it's a difficult um, time in history,
Right.
you know, and how even how Japanese were treated here in the US. But then that seems to be an ongoing theme, unfortunately, in our country, that it seems there are certain things we just can't get right. And I say that literally. So yeah, there, put it that way, there's still a lot we can work on,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to this to be the wise words. So let's
Yep.
just go to our next step. You know, just open mic, and if you want to ask each other questions or ask questions, please feel free.
For anyone who you know is watching this and those who are listening, um, again, the voiceover industry has exploded exponentially. There are tons of people who are looking to do it. The thing is most people aren't aware of what it actually takes. They think you're just reading a piece of paper, and then you just wait to get checks. But it's a whole lot more than that. So again, I'm training and I'm coaching, and I'm also producing demos. So if anyone has any questions or concerns or comments or whatnot, and they want to, get more information about it, they can go to my website, which is bzthevoice.com, or send me an email, which is bzthevoice@gmail. Literally, there's no way that a human being on planet Earth can't reach me, because everything across the board, every social media, everything is BZ the Voice. You can't miss me. Whatsoever.
I like that.
You have done an excellent job at branding yourself. BZ, and then this face pops out. You know that face.
Yeah,
It's
that's
really,
the Green
it's
Lantern.
awesome. Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So you've
And-
done an amazing job with branding. Yes.
Thank you.
And can I jump in here?
Yeah, of course you can.
I wanna kind of leapfrog on something BZ said. Kind of playing on the idea of using your voice. He uses his voice very literally on voiceovers, and I really want to encourage everyone out there that there is a way to use your voice for all the things that you think are important in this world, all the causes, all the needs, anything that you think deserves life and deserves attention. Use your voice. We all have a platform. We all have special abilities. We all have special experiences that no one else has had. And I love the fact that he's literally using his voice professionally and in a way to make a living. But that also can be amplified through using your voice to make the world a better place. No one has the experiences you've had. No one has the perspective that you've had. And so you can really impact change in this world. Don't ever be discouraged by thinking that you can't make a difference in something. When you use your voice and bring clarity to troubled situations, you make an impact.
That's right.
Exactly. That's right.
Don't start preaching, brother.
Love it.
That's right.
Yes, indeed.
It's interesting. It's interesting, and no, I'm so glad to hear that it's still about positiveness and not the grayness or darkness that people are experiencing. And yeah, I mean, Liz knows too how it is to go through challenging times, and it's good
Yes.
when I see each other, connecting to everybody and speaking to everybody. And thank you for being on the show, because it's good to show. Yes, we do have problems, but yes, we are also willing to overcome, and that's
Right.
the most important message out there, I think.
Mhm. Exactly. I have a question for Kana. How me being a fashion designer, how is the fashion there?
Fashion.
Yes.
Okay, it's kind of an unexpected question. Okay, so when it comes to fashion here, it's really unique.
Mhm.
It's totally different from Western style. Yeah, but to be honest, for me, this is really my opinion, but a little bit boring.
No.
Kind of conservative.
Could you describe the fashion a little bit?
So that people follow the trends, so everybody looks the same.
Okay.
Yeah, so the same trends, same fashion designer, same brand, so everything look the same, just
Mm,
not a different color or something. And yeah,
okay.
Is it
I prefer
more
to Western style.
the style they're having? Is it a very relaxed style, or is it a very formal style?
For now, it's really relaxing style. It's the most of people wearing very loose t-shirt and baggy pants and
More for comfort, huh?
yeah, comfy, but
Yeah.
people look the same.
Okay, I got it.
It's not like you expect, you go to Japan and they look all Japanese. No, they look fashion style the same.
Mm,
Mm.
my faith, but yeah, but we have in Japan we have traditional style, which is kimono style.
Okay.
Yeah, one of my hobby is wearing kimono, so I want more people to wear kimono often.
I think that's awesome. That's pretty traditional. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like when I run around in my lederhosen and people think it's funny.
Mm.
Yeah, kimonos are definitely way more stylish. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But it's too hot now.
Right. Oh, I'm sure.
You said it's hot. How hot is it out there?
What? Sorry.
In Hiroshima, how hot? What's the weather like?
It's now 30 degrees.
What? 30 degrees?
So-
No,
Yeah.
Celsius, not
Okay.
Fahrenheit.
Oh,
No, sorry.
like, ooh.
Not that cold.
So
Okay.
like 90.
Yeah, but now it's rainy season, so super humid here.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, we're getting like 108, 109.
Yeah. Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I just drove to Las Vegas actually on Sunday on my way back from Sun Valley. And you know what? It was like in the old times. I couldn't believe it. It took us from Las Vegas to San Diego 7 frigging hours.
Wow.
Was that a Sunday or a Monday?
It was on Sunday.
That's
And-
why.
And I'm
That's
like,
why.
yeah, but I'm like, hold on, where is all that social distancing?
Yeah.
I sincerely I didn't expect to hit traffic like that.
Well, the thing is, out here in Vegas, what they did is they started opening things up in phases. And so with the second phase, they started opening up a couple of hotels, and they opened up the pool area. And just like in Los Angeles and Florida, everybody crowds toward the water.
Yeah,
And now social distancing is out the door, and now you have more COVID cases. And
Right.
so that's exactly, and our COVID count went up a little bit because of that. And then whoever came into town, their COVID counts went up, going back home.
it will
So
sure be. Yeah,
there are some people who came into town, and then that's why it took you so long to get back. Because if you travel back on a Sunday or a Monday, forget it, unless you leave at like 3 a.m.
but I learned that. But like I said, since I was coming from Sun Valley, I really wasn't prepared, and it was kind of interesting. Sun Valley is one of those places, which is kind of recluse because it's hard to get to really. To take a plane to go there right now, it's nearly impossible. So you have to drive there, and the hotel occupancy overall was about 50%. So the town really seemed empty, even that there were things going on. And so it was for us to socially distance was actually easy. But the cool thing was they had a firework. So my son was really, really happy that he saw fireworks for the 4th of July.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Like it.
So I have one more question
So go ahead.
for Alex.
Sure.
Do you have anything lined up motivational wise, like online?
It's been really interesting. That has been the biggest impact to my small business. Is all of the conferences and events that I had scheduled for the spring and summer have all been pushed back. So I've had to switch to online and virtual presentations. I don't have anything that are public events right now, but I do hope to. I'm in negotiations for some right now. Just follow me on social media,
Okay.
and you'll see when they are. You can always go on my website as well, alexmontoya.org.
Right.
I have a YouTube clip of a TED talk that I gave. But yeah, I'm definitely having to make that adjustment to switching everything to online.
Right. Okay. Definitely be following up.
Well, then guys, thank you, Alex. Thank you, Kana. Thank you, BZ. And
Thank you,
I
BZ,
hope
Kana, and
that
Alex.
down the road, we meet again.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Use your voice.
Absolutely.
Okay, bye.
All right. It's
Take
been
care.
fun. See you all later.
Bye
Take care.
now.